Good afternoon. How are you all doing on this wet and miserable day? Especially when there's no football going on, apart from boring international football. Apologies, if you're into international football, then I apologise. But I've got to be honest with you, it's not for me. I'm really not interested in it. Not unless it's an actual competition. If it's a competition, okay, I can get behind it. Football's coming home and all that nonsense. But for me, international breaks, for the sake of them, just feel like they're cheating us out of our own passion and what we love. Anyway, I digress. I'm talking a load of old nonsense at the moment. So, Ange Postecoglou, manager of the month for the second month running, 2 months in the job, 2 months in the Premier League, 2 months manager of the month. Now, when the last one came out, I was like, and I am a little bit like that. I'm a little bit like, I worry about curses and stuff like that. I do it. So it's always, for me, it's always been one of them things. They give you the manager of the month and then straight after that we struggle and so on. But after getting it last time, we've continued on this really good streak of football, winning streak of football that we've been on. And in this time, we've managed to draw with our biggest rivals and also put one over a team that we really had a hoodoo against in terms of Liverpool, regardless of the furore around all of that. So great results and obviously thoroughly deserved by Ange Postecoglou. Equally, you know, you've got to give a little bit of credit to them down the road. Arteta probably could have had a good stake at it after their win against their bogey team in Man City. So, you know, I think it's credit to Postecoglou that he's been recognised in the way that he has. And apparently this is something that's never been done before. No manager who's been 2 months into a job, let alone 2 months in the Premier League, has ever won two manager of the month, one after the other. So absolutely brilliant for him and well deserved. But I personally think that his contribution, shall we say, goes far beyond just these results. I cannot ever think of another manager who has had such an impact in such a short space of time as this man has come into Tottenham. And I'm going to hold my hands up and say, listen, I was one of the first people to go, who? Where from? Scotland? 2-team league, all that kind of stuff. And I know, you know, and I overplay it like most of us do, right? Because you've still got to beat whoever they put in front of you. But, you know, it's not the greatest league in the world. You know, anyone outside of Scotland would say that. Scottish supporters and subscribers, apologies if you're taking that the wrong way. I don't mean it like that. But it doesn't give you the greatest of credibility. Being Australian as well obviously didn't help him. Other side of the world, they play rugby, they play cricket, Aussie football. What do they know about football? But clearly, what he does know about football is he knows what he likes, he knows what he wants, and he knows how to get it. But what he also has is this massive personality that just drags everybody in and gets you on board. And I think that's his biggest contribution, is just him being him. He is a instantly likable kind of character that you can warm to because you see him as a normal guy. You know, he can have a joke when he wants to. He can be empathetic when he needs to be. He can give credit where it's due. He can be level-headed. And we've seen all of that in such a short space of time. I'll give you some examples. When you consider that in the fan meeting thing that they did, Daniel Levy was saying that he was under immense pressure to bring in a big name. And Postecoglou quips, I think you'll find Postecoglou's a pretty big name. Now, of course, everyone's in stitches, even Daniel Levy, and that's just a measure of the man, right? In the fact that he's not saying I'm, the best and all the rest of it, and he accepts that he's got a lot to do, and he's grounded to the extent that he understands that what Levy's talking about, in that, we want a Nagelsmann or, whoever, the Contes and the Mourinhos and all that sort of stuff. But actually, he can see that, and he can be grounded enough to just kind of go, it don't matter, and I can make a joke of it. And that instantly warms people to him. One of the other things, when he was talking about mental health and Richarlison and the problems that he'd had, and he talked about, footballers being people and still having problems. And we forget that. The amount of times I've heard someone say, when they're getting paid that sort of money, they should be able to, be happy, or be able to do this or do that or play better or whatever it is. Your ability to kick a football isn't determined by how much money you get. It's the other way around. Your ability decides what money you get. You don't get that money because you're crap at football. You get that money because you're good at football. Now, the fact that you're not doing something in the way that you want to do, or you're going through a bad patch, there's nothing to do with how much you're getting paid. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has problems and so on, and things that affect you. We all earn money. We're all, those of us that are all still working, we've got jobs and all the rest of it. And I defy any of you to go, well, actually, I earn my money every day this week. There's been times when you've been down in the dumps, or you haven't been motivated enough, or whatever, for whatever reason. But that doesn't change how much you get paid. If they said, oh, we're going to give you, £30,000 a week to do the job that you're doing, it wouldn't make you better at that job. It wouldn't take all of your problems away, because your problems might be different problems. So I think, listening to him talk about that and having empathy for those people, again, was quite heartwarming. And the thing he did with the disabled lad at the fan thing, recognising, getting his question in, and that made his day. It made his day. It meant so much to him. It takes him 2 minutes to answer a question, but that's something that lad will carry for the rest of his life. And recognising that and the part that he plays is so heartwarming. And then you talk about his interviews, with the press and everything. They're all loving him. They're all loving him. You know why? Because he's honest, straightforward, and makes the point. He doesn't fanny around with, crazy sort of views or whatever, and he doesn't get flustered. He stays calm, and he gives a rational explanation. When you take about all the things about the Liverpool game and that kind of stuff, he was rational about it. VAR, it's not been a success. The fact is, you've still got people having to make a decision. And so when they make a decision, if they make the wrong decision, you've got to respect the fact that that person made a decision. They made it right. They didn't do it on purpose. Nobody goes out to do something wrong. Not unless you're in that mindset for whatever reason, and there are exceptions. But generally speaking, if you go to do your job, you're going to do your job because you want to do a good job. You're not going out there to mess it up on purpose. So again, his calmness, his the fact that he was rational, not emotional over it, I think is really, really interesting and good to see, because we see so many managers talking in riddles and all the rest of it. And then you also see the things where he's talking about the players, the injuries to players and all the rest of it. Yeah, we're going to have injuries. Yeah, they're going to have, but we've got a plan. We're going to work at it. We're going to do something different. And he praises the players when he needs to. It's about the collective, and this person's going to support this person because this person made a mistake, blah, blah, blah. And it's all about the collective. It's not about the individual superstar that has to do everything. I heard Jar Wobble talking on Chris Cowling's show recently, and he used the term, and I thought it was really good. So big up to you, Jar Wobble. But he used the term Roy of the Rovers players. that have to do everything. They come in and they've got to, take the ball from defence and run it all the way and score the goal. That doesn't happen in real life. It's a team sport. You have to have everybody collectively bought in. And that's the biggest part, is what he's done with that squad. You've got players that were already there. Your Son, your Bissouma, your Sarr. These guys were already there. The Kulusevskis, they were already there. They're already part of this squad, well established. And then on top of that, they've brought in Vicario. They've brought in Udogie, who was coming anyway. Maddison, who's been massive. Solomon, Johnson. I'm trying to think of all the players. But anyway, the point is, all of these players, he's accepted as his players. He wanted them. He doesn't say to them, I don't want these players, or this, it's got to be this, it's got to be that, and all the rest of it. He uses the stats and all the rest of it. He uses whether the player is the right player for us in the right position and all the rest of it. When you're talking about Vides, he actually said we brought him in as a first team player. He's not here as to go out on loan now. So he's here as a first team player, but he's had an injury and blah blah blah. And we've got to integrate him and so on. Be the second half of the season, 8 games in, he's had a couple of substitute appearances. So it just shows that these things move, and he'll make a decision about that player. And I'm sure the same thing will go with Ashley Phillips, where he needs him, and so on. So I think he's got great faith in the squad. He's brought them together. Everyone feels important. Everyone feels bought in to what he's trying to do. And I think you can see that. Players are playing with a smile on their face. They know that he's there. They know that he supports him. They believe in what he's trying to do, in the football they're trying to do. And they're trying to just see where it takes them. No expectations. He's not set his goal. We've got to get, top 6 or top 4 or win a cup or any of that. What he said is, we're building. But we're building for long-term sustainability. That's not easy to say. Sustainability. He wants us to be a club that wins cups every year. Not just this year. Every year. He wants us to be challenging for the title every year. That's where he sees his long-term plan. And that's what you should be doing as a football club, right? So for me, all of that stuff that he's saying, you can buy into it. You can buy into it. And then the greatest thing about all of this is then the link between the manager, the players, and the fans. Because it almost feels like it's one unity. We're all going in the same direction. We're all bought into it. We're all talking about Ange Ball and all the rest of it, because of what he's done, what he's set out for his players and how they're reacting. And you can see they're really trying to connect with the fans, to give them something, to make it worthwhile. So for all of it, you've got to attribute that to that man and how he has instilled that into the team. I've been to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this season. I've watched the games, and I've been part of the atmosphere there. And I can tell you this, for those of you that haven't been, it's electric. It's absolutely electric, and it's never been like that. For the last couple of seasons where it's been open, it's been a really poor experience. There's been no atmosphere. There's been no one, leading it and all the rest of it. And other fans, you can literally hear them singing and all the rest of it. And then you'll get a couple of blasts of "Oh, when the Spurs," and then it just quietens down to nothing. Not anymore. Now you've got people singing, really trying to get involved, stirring it up. The music is better and all the rest of it. Now we're going to go through some difficult times. We know that. But what we've got to do as fans is we've got to keep believing, and we've got to keep enjoying it. So enjoy it while you can. I'm not saying get carried away, we're going to win the league and all that, but you've got to enjoy the good times. Otherwise, what's the point? You go to football to forget your woes, to forget your problems, and have a good time. Meet your mates, have a beer maybe, dodgy burger, all the rest of it, and enjoy your day. That's what this man is trying to give you. He's trying to give you that opportunity to have a good time for those, 90 minutes plus that you're in the stadium, watching the game, but for the bit in front of, before it, a bit after it, the opportunity to talk about it and talk about it in a positive and feel like you're going in the right direction. So for me, as a person who held my hands up and said, you know, I was like, who is this guy? Where's he coming from? What, you know, I personally was thinking, having spoken to a friend of mine who's a Feyenoord fan, Arne Slot sounded perfect for us. But how wrong was I? And sometimes you get lucky, and I think Tottenham and Daniel Levy for sure has got lucky, but I suspect that when Daniel Levy met Ange Postecoglou, he fell in love with him the same as the rest of us have, because he can see what kind of guy he is. And if he can bring any kind of level of success, then that's fantastic. I used to think that I wanted to win a cup at any cost. At any cost. I just wanted to get that monkey off my back. Tottenham have won a cup. Shut up the rest of the year. We've got something. But actually, after watching Mourinho and Conte football and Nuno Espirito Santo football, I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I couldn't give a monkeys about a cup. I just want to see decent football. So I don't want to put a big thing on it to say we've got to have this to have success. Success for me is watching good football, enjoying the time and seeing progression. And I think that we're on that road. And this second Manager of the Month award, I hope it isn't a curse. I hope it doesn't reflect badly on him or give him any kind of, you know, negativity. But I'll be supporting him regardless. When we lose our first game, and we will lose a game, you know, and we may well get a tonking from someone. But you know what? If we go down fighting with the same passion that we've been seeing from the players, then I'm okay with that. I don't want it, but I'm okay with it. If my players go out there and give 110%, you know, they're working hard, they're chasing back, they're trying to win the ball, they're trying to score the goals. If it doesn't work and we get outplayed and we get beaten by someone, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. What I can't stand is watching players drift around, not give a shit, and not try with no passion and no commitment. That's what really, really gets up my nose and makes me unhappy with the football that I'm watching. So, for me, the Manager of the Month award, well deserved. It's 2 in a row. And the fact that it's for footballing reasons, for me, is immaterial. I think he deserves it for even more than that, for what I've just described in this video and how I feel about what he's turned around in a fan base that was totally disinterested, in a team that was absolutely going nowhere, with players who couldn't care less, with an ownership who were vilified and hated, and probably still are, to be fair. But it's quietened down because he's kind of switched that off. So Daniel Levy, you drift into the background. Let's see what Scott Munn's all about. Let's get our club together. Let's make sure that we are investing regularly, getting the right sort of players, the players that Postecoglou is calling for. And let's see where it takes us. Let's enjoy the ride while we can. Because I tell you, there's enough in this world to make you miserable without having to worry about whether your football team's any good. Just ask the people in Israel or Palestine how they're feeling at the moment. So, or Ukraine and Russia, all that kind of stuff that's going on. And I'm not trying to be political. But there's more important things in the world going on. But if football can bring a bit of happiness and a bit of light into your life, then you've got to take it when you can. So I'm all for it. I'm fully Ange Postecoglou's fanboy, and long may it continue. And let's hope that after this international break, this God-forsaken international break, we can get back to some proper football and see our team actually moving forwards and keeping this good run going. And if we don't, let's just keep behind the team to make sure that we're there when they need us, because it means a lot. You hear the players talking about it. So anyway, I'll leave it there. The dogs are barking. I don't know what's going on. Someone's at the front door, I expect. I'll leave it there. Up the Spurs.